Well, good morning. It's Thursday morning, September the 10th, I do believe. And glad you chose to join me for just a minute. There was a guy from the Old Testament in the book of 1 Kings, and I'm looking in chapter 19. His name was Elijah. Elijah had a tough time. He was a man who was God's man. He was a prophet. He was solid in every way. But it seemed like all the world around him was just going down the tubes. His countrymen, he couldn't figure it out. They were doing things that they never should have been doing. They were tearing down God's altars and building up altars to foreign gods. And there's just all this other influence. And in the midst of it, standing Elijah thinking, what do I do? And he had just gotten done with this tremendous event where he literally called down fire from God that consumed an offering and water and wood and everything else, but it didn't change very much. And he's under threat that the queen is going to kill him, so he's in a tough spot. Reminds me of how some of us are in today's world as we see people tearing down monuments to this, wanting to put up monuments to that, and there's just unrest and discord and fussing and fighting. And what bothers me, filthy and the foulest kind of language, is like it's perfectly all right. Not in God's eyes. But instead of pointing at all the problems, what do I do? What do you do? What do we do? And the first thing is to listen to God. So here's Elijah. And he's complaining to God, I did all of this and now they want to kill me. And the Lord tells him, and this is in 1 Kings 19, starting in verse 11. The Lord said, go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by. Well, hey, if he's going to come by that close, let me go see. Let me hear what he's got to say. Then a great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. Now pause for just a minute and consider that just in the last month, we've had the wind. It might not have shattered rocks, but it shattered houses and buildings and boats and many, many, many lives. And we've had earthquakes. And, do we have fires going on right now? So there's all of that. So this has happened before Elijah, and he's not hearing from God. In verse 13, after the fire came a gentle whisper. When Elijah heard it, he pulled his cloak over his face and went out and stood at the mouth of the cave. Then a voice said to him, what are you doing here, Elijah? And guys, in all the hubbub and all the upset and all the shouting and all the fire and all the earthquakes and all the wind and all the whining and all the crying and all the condemning and all the lying and all this other stuff that's just roaring around us, let me suggest to you that we all need to do like Elijah every day. Get somewhere that is quiet. Tune out the noise and listen to the one that can put everything in perspective and give us grace and mercy and strength for today, so that even in the midst of these storms, that we can be glad-hearted because we have the grace of God in our heart. God bless every one of you. Stay safe. See you next week.